1 o'clock, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. We'll stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get started, I'm just going to introduce this new staff member. I think Ross will take care of it.
Yeah. Just taking the opportunity to introduce Spring. She does our planning.
Am I working? There we go. Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Dicey Spring. I'm the new administrative specialist, as Ross mentioned, with Planning and Environmental Services. So happy to be here and looking forward to working with you guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
All right, approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve. I'll second it.
We have a motion by Kelsey, seconded by Lynn to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That is all in favor. Minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
We have a motion from Kelsey and a second by Amy to approve the minutes from last month's meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor. On to petitions. We have docket number BOA 08-21-2501 for Mark and Angela Clark and Becky Clark.
Good afternoon. Our first request today is to allow a new dwelling for the purposes of housing full-time farm operators to be closer to a neighboring feedlot than our zoning ordinance allows. So some of the information on the site, it is in Mount Vernon Township, section 33. It's an 160-acre parcel that's actively being farmed. And then the neighboring feedlot that the setback is required from is to the east of this parcel. This is a site plan. You can see there's a hatched white line showing the setback distance needed. It'd be 565 feet away instead of 1,000 feet. That's because the neighboring feedlot has more than 50 animal units, which requires the 1,000-foot setback distance. The petitioners are Becky Clark, who's the feedlot operator and daughter of the owners, Mark and Angela Clark. There's an existing driveway off of County Road 114, and the trailer house is proposed, like I said, to be about 565 feet from the neighboring lot. There was review done for other areas of the farm, but majority of the land is either being actively farmed or the area between the existing house and where the new house would be placed is going to be used for their septic systems. This is another site plan showing the contours in the area. The area is also all prime soils, but we have an exemption in the zoning ordinance for additional dwellings when they're related to farm help. Some of the project considerations, it is ARC zoning, it is an active farm. It would be to provide housing for full-time farm workers. They're proposing to share the existing well. Like I mentioned previously, they would be using the area in between that's currently grass for the septic systems. There's one there, and then there would be another one put in for this new home. And then the exemption from prime soils, like I mentioned previously. So some site photos. This is looking east towards the existing driveway. In the larger photo, you can see the circle outline. That's where the home would go. This is looking southeast with the stakes showing where the home would go, circled in red. Looking southwest, you can see the existing home in the distance there. And then looking north, the property line is to the right. You can see the cornfield there with the power line. They did go to the Mount Vernon Township July 8th. They did indicate support for the request. So staff recommendation would be that you consider all materials and testimony before making findings that support your decision. Our analysis and draft findings do support granting the variance. And if that is your decision, we've drafted 2 conditions for your consideration in the packet. Any questions for me at this point?
Is the house considered, or the new structure considered a permanent dwelling or a temporary dwelling if it's a trailer? And what does that mean for like, do they need any sort of permit for that in terms of like interim use or temporary use for that? Or-
The permitted use when it's an additional dwelling for farm help. Yep.
Okay.
Good question, though.
My question, Olivia, would be, is there a limit or circumstances on how many dwellings can be placed on a farm homestead area?
That's a good question. I think they're allowed 1 for every owner. Is that right?
Under the term of full-time farm help or for family members that would be either owners of that, technically no. So if there's a farmer, a couple that has 5 children and they're all owners and they're employed on that farm, they could have multiple ones, but they just have to meet that definition that it is full-time farm help.
So
So-
it doesn't have, sorry, go ahead.
The only constraints then would be the distances required between wells and septics and homes and so on and so forth.
Correct, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
There's
you.
no 40-acre rule then on that?
Well, I mean, you have to have a substantial amount of ground, I think, to earn a living, and I think then, it used to be a bigger issue many years ago. Keep in mind, there's also one for part-time farm help and for healthcare for the extended family, and we provide that provision, but that's going to be a public review process, interim use permit most likely then, so there's more involvement for something that is not meeting the definition of a full-time farm help type
So if they
application.
say retired and as long as a family member was living in that dwelling, that was like a part of the farm, it would be fine, but they can't. Friends
Potentially,
stay there, right?
there would have to,
Things like
right,
that.
there'd have to be a health care or health reason
Okay,
associated with that, and then there is almost a sunset that when that need is not being provided, that technically that structure has to be discontinued for that type of
Okay.
use, so.
or they'd have to come back and get it.
Right,
Okay,
yep.
all right.
Any other
Yeah.
questions at this point? Yeah.
Is the property that is too close, I guess,
Yep.
is that owned by Clark's or is that a neighbor?
Neighboring. Yep.
And they don't have any issues as far as you know with that structure going there in terms of expansion? It looks like they can't really expand anymore from the picture, but.
We didn't hear anything from them
Okay.
in our office. No.
But everyone was notified in the area.
Correct. Yep.
All right,
That's bad.
Thank you.
thank you. Would the petitioner like to come tell us your story? Just say your name and address into the microphone first, please.
Becky Clark, 18635 County Road 114, Rolling Stone, Minnesota, 55969.
Thanks.
So I'm just looking to add that trailer for employee housing, like it says, just so they're closer and then they're not coming in from the city, especially in the winter when it's snowing and stuff like that. They requested that if we ever had more housing, they would be interesting, so.
Okay. Any questions for the petitioner?
Are the workers a family or
No,
several single
no.
people or?
Employees, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, a family, actually.
Not your family, but.
No,
it
not
is
my
a
family. He has a family that'll be moving in
Okay.
there.
And those employees, Becky, are currently working for
Correct.
you on the farm?
Yep.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to open the meeting to the public.
So move.
We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion by Lynn and a second by Kelsey to open the meeting to the public. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All in favor? The meeting is now open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this petition, please come forward to the microphone and state your name and address. For the second time, if anyone wishes to speak for or against this petition, please come to the microphone and state your name and address. For the third and final time, if anyone wishes to speak for or against this petition, please come forward and state your name and address or unmute yourself if you're online. Okay, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing then.
I second.
I need a motion
Oh,
first.
make the motion.
Okay,
Sorry.
Seconded.
we have a motion by Amy, seconded by Lynn to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
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 All in favor. So do we have any discussion on this?
I think it seems reasonable.
I think we have quite a housing need as it is, so I think anything additional always helps, especially if you can be that close to work.
Yeah, well, and in the winter, that is a huge issue.
Yeah, I plow those
Right.
roads out there and
Yeah.
there's some sketch.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
dairy, right? Yeah, so
Right.
they have to be there.
To be at work.
So would anyone like to make a motion on this petition?
I make a motion that we grant the variance.
I'll second.
A motion by Amy and seconded by Kelsey to approve the variance. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All in favor. So we'll move on to. Oh, yeah, thank you. I read the appeal to the district court. All decisions by the Board of Adjustment in granting variances or in hearing appeals from any administrative order, requirement, decision, or determination shall be final, except that any aggrieved person or persons or any department, board, or commission of the jurisdiction or of the state shall have the right to appeal within 30 days after the receipt of the notice of the decision to the district court in the county in which the land is located on questions of law and fact. Any party that would like to submit an appeal to the decision just rendered at this public hearing must do so to the district court. The planning department is not responsible for filing the appeal. All right. Now we'll move on to docket number BOA 08-21-2502. The petition of Jake and Mary Yoder, who are seeking a variance to allow a schoolhouse to be located 260 feet away from a feedlot.
Our theme is feedlots today. They're looking to build a new schoolhouse, like Jordan said, 260 feet away instead of the 500 that's required. This site is located in St. Charles Township. The parcel crosses Highway 35 there, as you can see. It's about 28.9 acres, and the schoolhouse would be close to the intersection of County Road 35 and Sinclair Road, as you look at that parcel on the aerial image. The site plan staff created, you can see the setback distance there is 260 feet. The feedlot to the north of 35 has over 10 but less than 50 animal units, which requires that feedlot setback. One of the things that got brought up too was the neighbors' animals to the east. I believe they have goats. Goats are a lot less of an animal unit count to count towards actually needing to register to be a feedlot. On this one too, I should mention the schoolhouse is the red building, and then the outhouse / outbuilding is the yellow one. This is the petitioner submitted site plan. So you can see that the driveway would be coming in on the south side of those buildings, and then a little bit of separation between them. Some photos from out on the site. You can see again the schoolhouse and then the outbuilding. This is looking southwest. You can see the property line there is the fence and trees, looking towards the cemetery to the south. This is looking southeast towards the site. If you look really closely, you can see the stop sign for the intersection up there for Sinclair and County Road 35. Looking west, I have the driveway stakes circled in red there. Like I mentioned, they'd be coming in on the south side of those buildings. And then this is off of Sinclair Road, showing the intersection up above, and then coming off. And I think I have another one looking down Sinclair Road to the south. They chose this location on the parcel because it is situated back from 35, and it's not taking up active farmland that they use on the south side. So accessing off of Sinclair versus County Road 35, which is a little bit of a faster, busier road. St. Charles Township, they did go to the township meeting this past week on the 19th. They indicated that they have no comments regarding the request. That was put into your packet. I believe it was the amended version of it. There was one neighbor comment too that was amended in the packet that you should see. It should be towards the end. Staff's recommendation would be that you consider all materials and testimony before making findings that support your decision. Our analysis and draft findings do support granting the variance for the schoolhouse to be closer to the feedlot. And should you decide to approve the petition, we've drafted 2 conditions for your consideration. Any questions on this one?
Excuse me, Olivia,
Mhm.
how many animals is the goat farm currently licensed for, permitted for?
They don't need a permit with the number that they have currently. Right, so there's no setback. So under 10 animal units, you do not need to, there's no setback. And 1 goat is like 0.1 animal unit.
Got it, thank
Mhm.
you.
The feedlot has dairy or cattle, beef cattle?
The one to the north, they have horses. I would have to ask Brian, our feedlot officer, but I know it's horses that pushes it up past that 10. And then I think they have some chickens, I believe.
So, I don't remember how many animal units is a horse.
1.
Okay. So they
Don't
have-
quote me on that, but it's like the largest, one of the largest. Yeah.
And is that farm also like a part of the Amish community, or is that a separate farm that?
I believe it is owned by, yeah, I don't know the name of the person, but I believe they're part of the Amish community. Yeah.
I was just gonna ask the same question about the horse animal units, so does anyone else have any other questions?
I'm just reading through the,
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna read this letter quick. I didn't.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And they will be going to planning commission tonight too for a conditional use permit. The petitioner's here as well, so if you have questions for them, let me know.
So the cemetery in question in that letter, that's immediately to the south there. Is that correct?
That's the closest one. I believe they mentioned 2 in the letter though. But yeah, the closest one is right on that property line.
so who owns the property the school would be on? Is that an Amish family?
Yep, Jake Yoder, he's the petitioner. So it's his land that he would be providing for the school to be on.
So the second reason in this letter about there being a blind spot, is that
I
somewhere?
can go back to the photo. It is, I mean, you can see the slope up to get up to the intersection, but it is a pretty straight stretch of road.
So there's no like, they wouldn't need anything in terms of since they're obviously not driving a car into there, there's no need for any sort of access through.
They would be putting a driveway in, an access, so they have talked to the township about that. They would need to do a culvert and then, have access for whatever transportation needs to be there.
But there's no concern about the hill or the blind spot where people would be going in and out in terms of it being a busy road or 'cause I think in the past wasn't there like, oh, the Minnesota Department of Transportation or something has to like okay a spot for a driveway because of that.
Yep, so it depends on who the jurisdiction is for the roadway. This one would be the township. So they would be approving ultimately the access of where they're connecting to Sinclair Road. Yep.
Okay, all right.
And they are proposing that the access driveway be as far south as they can on Sinclair Road as opposed to being closer to that intersection.
Any other questions for Olivia?
Thank
You're
you.
good. Thanks. Would the Yoders, Jake or Mary, like to address the board? Say your name and address for us first, if you could.
Jake Yoder, address is 13260 Keller Drive, St. Charles.
Do you have anything you want to say or just fielding questions?
I guess for the need of the schoolhouse, it was probably the best location we could come up with. We talked about driveway, we talked about blind spots. So the driveway that we were looking at, keeping it down towards on the south side of the schoolhouse instead of on the north side. So when we talk about blind spots, there's driveways to the north and to the south. So we're a happy medium between them all. So if there was a blind spot for one, this would be less than either one of the others. Now we do have the cemetery to the south that we always want to respect. And to respect that, we thought if we looked at different angles to set the storage shed and to set the schoolhouse to make this work the best. And Hanson's, so when we first talked this, I said, we want to remember Hanson's, we respect their property as well. So when I talked with Mrs. Hanson, she said, you put that to what works the best, said, I'm all for it, said, I see a need, put it up. Then we changed it to this location. And the reason we did it, so before we had the schoolhouse sitting to the north end of the storage building, but because of an entrance out to the north and for the main entrance, that's why we put it down here. And then we thought this will respect the cemetery a little better because playground will be on the north end of the schoolhouse rather than the south end. So with us being able, if we asked to put the driveway down below, St. Charles Township is fine. But if somebody said, no, put the driveway on the north end of the storage building, we were open. But if we put it down on the south end, what we're looking at, there'd be two buggies coming in and unhooking, and there's no more activity towards that end. So our activity stays to the north of the schoolhouse.
Is the traffic gonna be coming in primarily off 35 or Sinclair Road?
So there's, everything is off of Sinclair when we're talking buggies. That's the only access. But we always put, every school has their fenced in location. And that is part of the rules in school. You play inside, your fenced area is your playground. So along the cemetery fence, if I said so, on the west side, we would run that fence all the way up to the road. And then on the road on 35, we cut a walk-through panel. So school children would come out of the schoolyard, walk the playground, and cross the fence, more so. Or go up Sinclair and take 35. But everybody coming from the west of 35, at this point, everybody is walking. Not to say that in the future, there might be somebody living there or beyond what is living there now that would have horse and buggy, but nothing at this point that shows up.
And just to the earlier question, the feedlot that we're talking about here is also a member of the Amish community?
That is one of the members and is one of the families with their children going to this school. And that is so when we put up a schoolhouse, it's very important for us to set the schoolhouse at a location that a family can see the schoolhouse at all times, just for reasons of safety. So that's where this location come in at.
So it's at least close to somebody.
So that feedlot family is actually the one that's got the eyes on the school.
Well, the house across the road,
Could
Hanson,
we get the other,
That's-
I'm sorry, could we get the other big shot of the layout? Is that possible? Kind of like the one in the corner, but the big there, maybe that one.
so Hanson's there,
okay. And they're not a part of the community.
they're not.
Neighbors. Okay,
Miss, that's Hanson that I went to talk with.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
we were, when we talked about this location, how can we keep everybody happy?
Mhm.
And she said, I'm all for it. Said, we're trying to keep school children off of 35, so we don't have anything to say against it.
Yeah.
So
Any other? Sorry, go ahead.
the driveway showing there, that's what we talk with the township on that location. But we are not, if we had it to, no, you put the driveway on the north end, that's what we'll do if that's what we need to do. But just for privacy reasons,
Well, and I was more curious, just like with this lady's letter addressing her concerns and hearing what you had to say about it. And I think what you're saying makes sense. She also mentioned just the high children activity, and if kids are crossing the highway and things like that, are there things that you guys do during that time so that people are aware that the kids are going to school at that time? Like, are there signs or is
So-
somebody out
So
there?
we had a conversation last night. And we don't want to be a burden to Winona County, but if we can put a schoolhouse there, we would really like to have some signage put up. For school kids walking on that road. There's one sign that is out towards the Amish market. Sinclair now they call it, but says horse and buggy the next 7 miles, something like that.
Yeah.
We need probably a little more than that.
Well, and I mean, that's just one property there, but there's probably a lot more people driving, especially to that market and everything too.
Yes,
And they don't have any signage on 35 at all?
that is the only one that there's one there and then there's one off of 6, I believe. So at the end of that 7 miles, there's one saying that in between 35.
Okay.
And the one thing that we talked at the St. Charles meeting was, we don't want a schoolhouse there for the safety of the kids. But if there is no schoolhouse there, the kids are all traveling school 3.5 to 4 miles on County Road 35 and 37. So we're still,
Gonna be on the road.
yes,
Yeah.
but only quite a bit farther.
And that would be County Road 35, which is a sort of a paved road mainly. More or less paved.
Yeah, it could be redone, but yes,
And so traffic, there's more traffic, it seemed to me when I was there. And traffic was certainly moving faster than it would on Sinclair Road.
yes, for sure.
Any other questions for the petitioner? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
With that, I would entertain a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Make a motion.
I second.
Okay, I'll third it.
We have a motion by Kelsey, seconded by Amy to open the meeting to the public. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All in favor. The meeting is now open to the public. If anyone would like to speak for or against this request, you can come to the microphone and state your name and address.
Steve Holm, 28527 Highway 74, St. Charles, Minnesota. I am president of the Sinclair Cemetery Association and also the caretaker for the cemetery. Let me start off with, I have no opposition to the schoolhouse, but I do have 3 concerns I wanted to bring forward. First one is County Road 35. Again, Jake already alluded to that. Signage. They need extra signage out there if they're going to have kids walking along. There's really no, the side of the road is very, very minimal. And walking along there could be hazardous. The cars go down that road pretty quickly. So additional signage would be a huge plus, at least to notify people that a school is in the area. Secondly, they talk about the blind spot, and the blind spot isn't with the driveway, but when you come from Sinclair up to 35, it's not a straight, it's kind of an angle, and then there's a hill. It's very, very difficult from the east side to see if any vehicles are coming out of there. I know it scares me every time I come out with my pickup truck and a trailer because somebody could be coming fast. So I think that's what she's concerned about for the blind spot. Again, signage could help that.
Can I ask you a question about that? So there's the Amish store and everything already on that road, correct? Sinclair Road? Is that where that is?
Mm,
They mentioned something.
The Amish, 35 is,
I think
has,
it's about the market out
Or
at,
the market, I'm sorry, the
Yeah.
Amish market, is that on Sinclair Road?
no, it is not.
It's not, okay.
Not unless, I don't think you guys have set up another market.
No, I'm
aware
just
of.
like trying to read off of this lady's, cause I was curious if there's activity going to that market on that blind spot already to where,
There's a significant amount of activity on 35. There's the Amish auction
okay.
house
that's two
that's,
houses. Okay.
you have, most people take 35 and then cut down on the other county road to get to that. There's also on 35, the furniture
Okay.
store that's a huge store that going to be seeing a lot of traffic. 35 also is kind of a cut through.
So there's
drag.
already, you know, like Amish horse and buggies going down that road to those places, and there's already cars going to those places, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. But as Jake alluded to, there's just one sign at the start saying Amish next 7 miles. If you miss that,
yeah,
and that road is, again, there's really no shoulder to pull off onto for the buggies and that. So they really need to stay pretty much in the road. And then there are several hills and blind spots. So that's a problem. Again, more signage would be a big help with that. The other thing that I want to bring forward is, as I've gone through all the zoning notes, that I don't see anything specifically relating to Amish schools. You've got the zoning ordinances for schools, which this doesn't really fall under because those are, you're expecting a big parking lot and everything else. And it would be nice to have things be clarified a little bit more of when they decide to build a school. If there's more of a setback or a need for parking or that, or where the septic tank is located. And that's something that maybe you can come up with at a later time as an ordinance, because this won't be the last Amish school. That'll be a request for the area. The third thing that I had is relating to the driveway. Originally, there were a bunch of trees and shrubs there along the Sinclair fence line. When those were cleared out in order to generate the pasture, before the seed actually took place, there was a significant amount of water and mud that flowed into the Sinclair Cemetery. I am a little concerned with the driveway being that close that, again, we'd get a runoff into the cemetery. It's not much of a grade, but the fact that the water did run off originally there is a concern to me. So if there's a way to put the driveway in, but yet have either build it up just a touch or something like that so the water wouldn't run into the cemetery, I'd be extremely grateful, because that took out a lot of grass that I had with all the mud that came down originally.
do you know what the other neighbors have done for their driveways? Like, I know they mentioned a culvert already, but do they have washouts that come down at all on any of the other properties that you've noticed?
Well, actually, as we just drove up to the cemetery and took another look, and on the corner of 35 and Sinclair, there is a washout already from the last rains.
Okay.
There's a significant washout heading to the south of the corner of the road. Typically, there really isn't any flooding in the area. It's high enough the culvert that we have for the little driveway for the Sinclair Cemetery, it's a very small culvert. It's sufficient for that. The only thing is that there is a major telephone and fiber connection area that's in between the cemetery and 35. So the driveway needs to be needs to respect it where that is. And I'm not sure exactly how far of a change to that is. So that's all that I had to bring forward. I just didn't want to have snow and everything else come over into the cemetery, into our fence. Right now with the horse pasture, we're not seeing the issues that we were with when the trees were originally taken down.
Thanks.
I have a question.
Okay.
Could we put a picture with, I guess this, I don't know if you can see that. The proposed site. I'm just confused where the cemetery is,
Mhm.
and now you're talking about a horse pasture. Where all those various things are.
Okay, let me see here if I can get a pointer. Yeah, this isn't really showing up on the TV set. May I walk over to the TV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sinclair Cemetery is this spot right here.
Okay,
Oh, all right.
And the driveway is going right along our border fence. The Smith Cemetery is right up here. It's another small family cemetery just on the other side of 35.
So it's
So
kinda
that's not
out of
gonna
the
be-
picture?
That's not gonna be impacted by
Okay.
this at all. This is all currently pasture land. This is a little older picture. I think that depicts that there are trees bordering here. All these trees and shrubs have been removed.
they've been removed,
Right,
okay.
and Mr. Yoder has put a very sturdy horse fence all the way around.
We're gonna try to maybe get the one exhibit there that's
There
expand
we
on
go.
there.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the Smith Cemetery is right up here.
Okay, that looks pretty.
So is this one still, the trees are gone or they're still there?
All the trees around here are gone.
Okay.
Excuse me, I was there yesterday and there's some pine trees that
That's
are
within the
gorgeous.
cemetery boundaries.
So you're talking those trees are in the cemetery boundaries?
Yes.
As it looked like to me, there was a sort of an older fence and then Mr. Yoder's new fence on the other
That
side.
is correct, yes.
Okay, and those are some gorgeous trees, by the way.
They're gorgeous until the wind hits.
So far, so good.
Yes, no, those trees were planted pretty much when the cemetery was laid out. There's
So your concern is with erosion from a dirt driveway on the other side of the cemetery fence?
or even a gravel, you know, if it's sloped the wrong way or that, the water could come into the cemetery area there. And that was an issue once the trees were all taken out. Once it got planted with grass and seeded, I no longer saw the issue with the mud coming in.
So the grass pretty much took care of that.
Grass pretty much took care of it. I was just
Okay.
concerned that the driveway might be a little too close to the fence and there maybe wouldn't be enough of a border for grass.
Huh.
And where would they move the snow off the driveway? Or if the water runs down this way and hits the driveway, is it just gonna go right into start carrying gravel into the cemetery?
So do you feel that the grass growing there has resolved that issue then?
Yeah, I haven't seen any mud since the grass
Okay.
came.
All right.
All right,
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
thanks. Would anyone else like to speak for or against this petition? Please come forward and state your name and address, if so. Anyone online? Would you like to come back up? Sure. I just want to remind everyone that what we're dealing with is the fact of it being close to a feedlot. So anything else, the driveway should be addressed by the township, and all these other concerns we will deal with later at the planning commission meeting this evening. So you might have to
that's all.
say all this again, but
That's all I was gonna prefer to is we can push that driveway up, away from that fence.
you're fine with that. Okay. Thank you. All right, so for the third and final time, would anyone like to speak for or against this petition? Hearing nothing, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Kelsey, seconded by Lynn to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Hi,
Aye.
None opposed.
may I ask a point of order?
Sure.
Because I was there and 35 is a busy, curving, no shoulder county road.
Mm-hmm.
My question to us would be, is it appropriate for us to recommend or something to the county, Winona County Highway Department, that the requested signs or some kind of school signage or whatever, be put in place near that spot? Because better an ounce of prevention than a ton of regret.
Yeah,
I was wondering the same thing,
I w-
even a slower speed limit if that's
I was
possible.
too, but I do feel it would be more appropriate for the planning commission. Um, could, could you, Eric, or Olivia, could you speak to the petition later and if any of those items would be covered in conditions of the CUP or IUP?
So it's covered better by the criteria that we analyze for the findings of fact for the conditional use permit. We look at, character, safety, traffic, all of those things. So we can bring it up at that point too. You're also dealing with Sinclair as a township road and signage on a township road versus a county road. So there'd be two different jurisdictions that would be working on any additional signage.
There's not currently like conditions specifying any signage on the CUP?
There's not, nope.
Okay.
Can I just ask out of curiosity, is there any regulation for them putting up their own signs in terms of like, I mean, out on my roads, people just have those bright yellow shaped things that say watch for children, or they've got signs that say like drive like your kids live
Yeah.
here. Are there any rules against just putting up something like that before there's other steps done?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are because it's the roads right of way that you'd be putting a sign in. So I'm sure they would need some sort of approval. I don't know what the process looks like for ordering or there's standards for signage too. So,
Okay,
yeah.
I was just curious.
I'm sure the highway department would be receptive to sign needs once there's resolution on the development of the school, so they would respond appropriately.
Okay.
All right.
And it is,
Yeah.
as the liaison, it is my job to kind of bring these concerns to the planning commission this evening. So, I think it would make everyone here feel a little bit better if you knew that I was going to suggest something at that time too, and that's what I plan on doing, so,
Thank you.
Yeah.
That does sound like a good thing to do. Thanks, Jordan.
yeah. With that, is there any other discussion
Public or among us?
from us?
Yeah, as far as the whole feedlot thing, I don't think that's an issue. If it's horses, they don't smell bad and nothing like cows.
There's
Well, they're
gonna be,
probably
And they
use
drive
them
horses,
to
so it's a big deal.
drive to
So,
school.
yeah, they'll be
so-
there anyway.
But, yeah, the signage and that sort of thing is a concern, which isn't our department, but if you can bring that up.
Yeah.
So as far as the
absolutely.
feedlot, I have no issue with that.
Oh, I don't either.
Right, I guess I would be looking for a motion one way or the other then.
I move to allow the variance, so go ahead and proceed.
I second that.
We have a motion by Lynn, seconded by Amy to approve the variance against the variance for the setback from the feedlot. All those in favor say aye. Aye. That is all in favor. So once again, the appeal to the district court. All decisions by the Board of Adjustment in granting variances or in hearing appeals from any administrative order, requirement, decision, or determination shall be final, except that any aggrieved persons or any department, board, or commission of the jurisdiction or of the state shall have the right to appeal within 30 days after the receipt of notice of the decision to the district court in the county in which the land is located on questions of law and fact. Any party that would like to submit an appeal to the decision just rendered at this public hearing must do so to the district court. The planning department is not responsible for filing the appeal. All right. I believe our last item on the agenda is adjournment.
I make a motion that we be adjourned.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Amy, seconded by Lynn to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.
Okay.